we are down to 4 teams as MLS playoffs continue this weekend in the Western Conference Final. It's San Diego FC versus the Vancouver Whitecaps, the 2 teams that finish at the top of the West in the regular season. And over in the Eastern Conference Final, it's Inter Miami FC versus New York City FC, the 3rd and 5th seed in the East. Miami beat Cincinnati, and NYCFC took down this year's Supporter Shield winners, the Philadelphia Union. So let's talk more about the upcoming matchup over in the East. We are bringing in our guy, Felipe Cardenas, to speak more about this match. Felipe, I'm not sure, if it's that much of a shock to you for NYCFC to have made it this far, but really what can we expect in their matchup against Inter Miami this weekend?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a shock. I think those who follow MLS recognize that NYCFC is a bit of a big brand. I think the fact that they don't have a big global star, perhaps they're not in the news as often. But, I think it's a good team. And what they showed against the Union, I think, is credit to their manager, Pascal Jansen, the Dutch-born, the London-born Dutch coach who, I think he changed his tactics in that game and he was able to play with a false 9. Remember, one of the best strikers in MLS, Alonso Martinez, a Costa Rican, is out with a knee injury. He's no longer available. And so Jansen had to change it up a little bit against the Union, and they were able to disorganize that team. They were able to have up to 50% possession as well. And so those are the types of, I think, characteristics in terms of a tactical approach against Inter Miami that they're going to need. They're going to need to keep the ball. I think they're going to need to have their chances and take advantage of them. And then Matt Freese, the goalkeeper, who was very, very crucial in that win over the Union, he's going to face a barrage of attacks from Inter Miami, and he's going to have to be big. But I think NYCFC with that false 9, that front 3, Maxi Morales, Nico Fernandez, it's a difficult team to manage over 90 minutes. So it's a good challenge for Inter Miami.
I think the injuries, is what kind of had no one expecting NYCFC to be there against a Philadelphia Union side. But that Supporters Shield curse, it continues on in the MLS Cup playoffs. But when you talk about Inter Miami, I think kind of going into this playoffs, the big conversation and talking point was Luis Suárez getting benched. And this Inter Miami team seemingly producing and moving a lot better with and without the ball, without Suárez in the lineup. How much has that affected this Inter Miami team, and have they found something here where they can go on a run and be able to win MLS Cup with Luis Suárez being a super sub, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, they're in great form. They can absolutely win this MLS Cup. This Eastern Conference Final and then MLS Cup. If they get there, they can win it without Luis Suárez. I mean, he's a big time player, big time personality in that dressing room. But listen, I mean, Javier Mascherano was at a point during the fall when they were facing, after some pretty bad losses to Orlando City, Chicago, Charlotte, even Seattle in that Leagues Cup final. The pressure was on Javier Mascherano to right the ship. That the whispers in the Miami press corps was that the seat was getting hotter for Javier Mascherano. So I think credit to him for making that decision, for being the man manager that he needed to be with some of the biggest personalities in the league, and then bringing in these younger players. Again, I think we all know that eventually these legacy players, Busquets, Jordi Alba, Messi, Suarez, the legs were not going to be there all the time. So they've brought in some younger players that has taken them a bit to get into form. But now you have Matteo Silvetti, even Baltasar Rodriguez, the player that came from Racing, who's a U22 player. They're producing Tadeo Allende, who at 16 goals this year, I think he could have had 25 goals if he wouldn't have left so many goals on the doorstep there. But now they have some younger players that can run. I think Mascherano has added a bit of pragmatism to how the team defends. The line of confrontation is a little bit different now, but they're still a team that wants to run at you, and they can. I mean, Messi, listen, 47 games, 43 goals, and 25 assists for Lionel Messi. It's crazy.
We know how important Messi is going to be for Miami, how important Matt Freese, you talked about it, is going to be for NYCFC. But who is a player for either one of these teams that, could maybe surprise us, that could really step up big time in this match?
I think it's Maxi Morales for NYCFC, honestly. I mean, before there was Messi, he was one of these prime Argentine number 10s in this league. He has made a career here. He's 38 years old, the same age as Lionel Messi. He had that big goal against the Union, and he is the heart and soul of NYCFC. He's the player with the veteran stability within that locker room. I think he's a player that understands how to play in these playoffs, and he still is showing that competitive spirit. So I think he's going to be big. Again, he played in that false nine position, that false nine role against the Union. I think he'll be in a similar role. He is the guy. If Maxim Morales is on, if he's getting touches, if he's being clinical, then NYCFC has a chance.
He's really the emotional leader, clearly, especially after the injuries. You saw him get the game-winning goal against Philadelphia. He's the emotional leader moving forward. For Miami, you mentioned Allende. I think he'll be a huge surprise for Miami. If he can get going and he can get just one goal in this game, you expect Miami to get more around him. He can be, I think, what will unlock this team moving forward, besides the obvious of Messi and everyone else.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. Felipe, thank you so much for your time.
Take care, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. MLS Cup playoffs continue. So as we talked about, Inter Miami taking on NYCFC. That's this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by the showdown over in the West. My San Diego FC taking on the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Who you got?
I got San Diego. Let's do this, man. 2 games for them to become champions.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.